we today? It's Sunday. I'm not sleepy. I went to bed at 3 and I woke up at like 11, I think. Let me fix something real quick. But how are we today? Hope everybody's well. I'm like so relieved that I didn't stream yesterday. And not like a bad thing. There's a lot of stuff that's like happening. And it stinks a lot. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, I think that should be good. I didn't hear my alert go off, so it kind of wigged me out a little bit. I'm hoping it was just the one time, the one thing. I've been complaining about I need more curtains. I need different curtains, and yet also I feel weird today because I'm wearing this top. And not in a bad way. It's just like I don't know. I like it. I've had this top and I have a red one just like it that I got at the thrift store like 3 or 4 years ago, and I never wore it because I was like, well, where am I ever gonna wear it to? I've only worn it like the black one, I've only worn this 3 times. The red one, I think I've only worn it once, and it was for Thanksgiving 5 years ago. I don't remember. I could be lying about that, but I tried doing my hair, and it kind of came out the way I wanted it to, but mm, like yes and no. And is the audio too loud for you guys? I feel like it is just a little. No, you guys should be fine. Is it because you're not right here? I don't know. Things are happening today, and I don't understand why. Okay, that's all the way up here. I don't know. I'm not peeking. This is set to the right. Advanced audio properties. No, going into this. Yeah, but today we're gonna be doing some backlogging. I like horror games. I like scary games, but at the same time, it's like I need something else because like the last couple weeks have just been month last year, couple years have been dookie. And so I need something that's like Stardew Valley, but more creepier. Maybe I can like. It's hard to explain because Stardew Valley in itself is not a horror game at all. Like some instances, like if you're going mining, like yeah, it can be creepy and scary. But at the same time, I'm like, I need something else. I know it's weird, but I need something else to like scratch my brain. And I tried playing Little Witch in the Woods and I just could not. I just could not. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, playing a game and then realizing I don't like it. I don't want to play it anymore and not finish it. Some people are like, well, if you start a game, if you start a game, you have to finish a game. And it's like, no, no, you don't. No, you do not. Um, photos. I can't remember where I was going. Yeah, so that. Okay, that should have updated. I'm gonna refresh. Nope, it did itself. Yeah, we're gonna look at some backlogs, um, and see what we can find. I have on Steam, I think a few games that were free to play, and then I added a couple to my wish list. I think it was the Backrooms multiplayer, and then it was another version of the Backrooms, but I'm not sure. So yeah, we'll just like hop right into it. Hopefully this is working the way I want it to. It's like, oh, you had all this time to set everything up, but you know, I mean, mommy's lazy. Really lazy. Not even lazy. I'm like so tired. So tired. And not like I got like the best sleep I ever could. I got high last night, and but I'm still tired. Okay, this top is making me uncomfortable because I feel like I'm gonna flash you guys on accident. But it's I have really broad shoulders and a wide chest. The girls are big, but they hang very they're there. It just they're not up here, and I wish they were. And so it looks like I'm not wearing anything because of how wide this is. I'm like trying my best to, you know. Okay, let's take a look at these. I don't like this. Some lo-fi is very nice, and some lo-fi is annoying. That one was annoying. Okay, so I looked through here. So I already have Doki Doki Literature Club. It's more than just cute. It's very gory, I think. I've seen a couple playthroughs like a while ago, like a long time ago. Mr. Bat. Cat bat. Cat vampire bat. Sorry. Stay. I need more of these little guys. I have a mummy somewhere, and I love him too much to take him out because I fear that he's gonna get dirty. Like this little piggy that I have, the Invaders and Piggy. He's so dirty. I had to like wash him. He's very dirty. You know what? Let's clip him onto here. Oops. Um. Oh God. Okay. Piggy. Is he gonna hang there? Is he gonna be fine there? Oh yeah, he'll be fine. Okay. See his little piggy butt. So with Doki Doki Literature Club, I have that, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to stream it. Not saying that it's no all bad. It's just it's not it's pretty intense. It's a pretty intense game. Kay would love this one. I forgot. I forgot. It's frog and then ot. Instead of forget, it's frogot. I don't know how I feel about that. Um Lavender, an alternative take on the classic fairy tale of Rapunzel, puzzle game with horror elements. Okay. I used to be big on puzzle games, but not so much as I've gotten older. Ooh, this one, it's only a minute long, and I want to get it because it's I made a short game about something that used to scare me as a child. And so I'm very curious about what it is. Also, hi Juan and hi Glamour Fairy. Thank you for that follow, by the way. I meant to say something like right before I started, but I decided, let's complain first. Well, that seems cute. Huh? No, I don't. But thank you, Luna. Did you hear that? Were you able to hear that? Because I couldn't. And I'm not worried about it if I couldn't hear it, but if you could, that's totally normal. I'm fine. Yes, okay. I don't care that I couldn't hear it. But thank you. My hair didn't come out the way I wanted it to, but it's okay. It's still floofy. That's all I want. I just need a haircut that will allow my hair to be the way I want it to. Also, can you hear me okay? The music is probably loud to me, but is it loud for you? Also, how are you? How's Sons of the Forest? I'm very FOMO with Sons of the Forest, although I can't purchase it right now. Um, it seems good to me. I'm obsessed. Okay, I'm good, obsessed. Uh, I want to play it so bad. Because if you like, okay, since I know you're not like a scary streamer, or you don't dabble in creepy, scary games, to know that you like Sons of the Forest means it's a really good game. Same thing with Hail. I want to get that game so bad. I'm not sure if I can do multiplayer without having the game, but that wouldn't make any sense. I'm just babbling, but we're looking at cute little horror games. Doki Doki Literature Club is more of a horror game than it is cute. It's only cute because it's got cute anime girls in it. But other than that. Also look at this one. I forgot. Frog got. I forgot. It's got a frog. It's got a mustache. And reminded me of Pay. But I don't know if she'll play it. She might. But yeah, we're just looking at ones. This one is like a twist on the story of Rapunzel. Cute horror elements puzzle game. I was talking about how I used to be a puzzle game person. Like I loved puzzles. Like give me all the puzzles. Like Resident Evil 4, the HD remake, not the one that's coming out, but the one before that. I think it was for the PS3 or for the PS2. That one, like the puzzles were like my jam. But as I've gotten older, I'm just like, give me something my brain doesn't have to work for because I'm old now. Also, this one is only a minute long. And it's uh something about that used to scare me as a child. So I don't know what that is. It's only a minute long. And maybe like I'll do like a professional playthrough for YouTube or something, but it's only a minute long. I'm like so curious as to what it is. But there's so many games. There's like where did it say 620 results? There's a lot. And then like I'm gonna send you guys the link in case there's like something like our little group chat in case there's something that you guys want to look at. Because I mean when Pay gets in here we'll look at the frog one. We'll look at the frog one. My fridge shuddered right now and it scared me. And I don't know if you guys saw if I jumped, but it scared the crap out of me. Can a cute ghost story be scary? A parody Halloween game. We'll look at that one. I don't like the name, but I'm gonna play it. Okay. Lift Your Spirits seemed like a good one. I was looking at okay, so while I got up this morning, I was like, ugh, I don't want to play. Ooh, this one, Candy Scabs. This one. I woke up and I was like, ugh, I need to post things to my store. For those that you don't know, I do run a um I have now combined my personal t-shirt shop with my gaming merch, and I also created a notebook that has Michael Myers on it and it says Daddy Myers. I had to post something. So I was like, I've gone like a week without posting anything, and then I posted something on Twitter, and now I feel like I should like separate them. Like I should have a separate Twitter and a separate like Gamer Rage um page on Twitter. I don't. I think when I expand or when the channel gets bigger, and then when I make a few sales and have like, enough of a following, I'll probably make Twitter for those two things, but for now, they'll be fine. Love or Die. Okay, wait. I saw this one and it reminded me of what is that game? I can't remember what it was called. But it's got the skeleton dude in it. I can't remember, and it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, this is a browser game. Oh, even horrible creatures of the night need therapy sometimes. Lord Dracula is depressed and ate his therapist. Oh, so I guess I have to be his therapist. I mean, that doesn't seem too bad. I don't like this word. These words are very ableist. This one and then this one. Mm. I don't know how Cooking Companions Appetizer Edition could be a cute horror game. Unless. Unless they scream when you kill them. Okay, let's. Oh My Witch seems like a good one. Otome Legends Trial? No. I'm Still Here. That one seems like a good one. I did get gifted, I think it was Doom something. There's a couple of versions, and I got that one. And I know that one's also on backlog. Oh, I wanted Horrorvale. I saw this one. Like a new tab. Trick or Treat. Camp Marshmallow. Oh, God. And apparently all these are free. Okay, we're getting out of order. Hold on. Horror comedy game. No. Fur Quest. No. Bird by Example. I don't know if I like that. I'm terrified of birds. Pigeons, doves, especially seagulls. I don't like them. I like crows though, and ravens, and vultures, but don't ask me to go near a seagull. They're hateful creatures and they are very evil and they like to bite you when you try and help them and rescue them. Cool Master looks like a good one. Um, Dark Quest, Summon Ghouls. Okay, that's all you had to say. Once Upon a Spirit. I don't know. I feel like I'm scrolling down and like seeing games that I don't really like. Pet Exorcism? What's that? There's a multiplayer game for two or more players. One player will act as the pet's guardian and the others will act. Oh, maybe that's something that like we could play together. Or like a community night thing. Where was the other one? Seven Living Sins? Okay, let's not scroll over that one. Lullaby, this looks like a Limbo knockoff. Nightmares. Ooh, this was made in Unreal Engine 4. Trauma. It might be running, loading slow. Welcome home, a waste of endless time. Okay, no, I don't know. Little Devil. Oh no, that actually looked really good. We'll take a look at it anyway. And the Whispering Woods. Nah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay not like we're trying to find something nice and cute, but it also has the themes that I enjoy. Pumpkin Plump Pumpkin Poetry is the first game. Okay. Join Sheep Cat on Halloween night and listen to the fur folk. Okay, we'll look at that one. That one seems cute. Save my date. Meatball dog. Yeah, no. I'm if I don't see anything interesting, I'm gonna scroll up and um mess with the filters. Okay, I saw something up here. Oh, where'd it go? Spectral Pursuit? What's that? It's a local player versus play game built for the Vive in virtual reality. Oh yeah, I don't have that. Fertilizer. Alaska, girl who loves to take care of plants. Draw and hang out with her best friend. No. If I don't know what that means. Like, am I using dead people to fertilize my stuff? Be near my little ones is an eerie stealth game. No. Like, I don't want to download mods for Stardew, even if it means that there's like horror mods. I just Your girl's lazy. And also, mods make me confused, and the only time I'll actually ever mod anything is Skyrim, because Nexus mods is simple enough for me to understand. Because other than that, I can't. Don't ask. Don't ask me to do anything. It's very hard. Okay, yeah, let's go up. It's like, just because it has pink and purple on it doesn't mean it's gonna be good and it's gonna be cute. Okay. It's okay. Creepy. I'm okay. Okay. So 22 results. No. Let's take out. Okay, how do I fix this? Just keep going back? Okay, yeah, I do. View all tags. Shit. Um, would what would Stardew fall under? Like, it'd be a simulation, wouldn't it be? No, no, because it'd be more like The Sims. Hmm. Gonna be a 3D platformer? I am confused. This also means we'll have to download these eventually, but I want to play soon. Also, I saw this and I was like, I might get it. I might. These are all free. It's a visual novel, but still. It's funny. That one's not in English. Okay, that. Don't know. I think I'm just gonna have to keep looking because I feel like. I feel like cute army a cat story. No, I feel like I if I add if I add another tag to it, I might not be able to find what I want. It seems like a lot of these are like visual novels or point and clicks. Ooh, Yokai Detective Co. Possibly. Spider with a gun. It's just a spider with a gun. I never planned on releasing this anywhere, and I don't plan on finishing it. Okay, let's. Okay. Mm. You could have done so much with this name, but we're, you know, Camp Clover, short horror exploration. We'll look at it. Okay. Let's look at Lavender. Let's look at some of these things. Okay, an alternative take on the classic fairy tale Rapunzel, puzzle game with horror elements. Please be aware that it's entirely possible to finish the game without coming across anything horror related. Interesting. Please do not link to this page or I do not use this type of monetized referral pages, so if you got here using one, it was someone else who made said link, and I would like to be informed. Okay. Hmm. Okay, I'm trying not to ruin anything else. I like this one. I don't know if I need an account, but we will bookmark this. Done. Save it there. That'll be easier. This one. Oh, okay. This one is the minute long game. Oh, I can download it too. Okay. We will just bookmark it. Yeah, make sure it's closed. In a quiet cemetery, there's a house haunted by a ghost called Jimmy. Jimmy likes to eat pizza and be happy all the time, but one night something terrible happened. His favorite hat was stolen. Jimmy is so sad now. Help him get his hat back. Oh, that is kind of cute, though. I like that. The name, not so much, but it's still cute, so we'll do that. Lift your spirits. You are a desperate college student rushing to meet the deadline of your last assignment before semester break. Sounds familiar. With no choice but to stay late, you find yourself alone at campus in the dead of night. Bad choice. When you never believe the rumors spread around the student body, ghost stories were simply stories, right? No, it is recommended to play at the default text speed as some audio cues are meant to be in sync. Okay. I don't like that. But we're gonna backlog it. Okay. This one I saw and I was like, I like the art style is really adorable. Okay, this one is Candy Scabs. It's the Void's birthday. Bring candy and presents, or else. A cute but dark little story about two nightmares looking for candy. Three endings, 20 minutes per read. Violence and blood. There's also a walkthrough. Let's look at some of the art. Oh, that is adorable. I will backlog this one. Okay, this is the one that uh I think you're Dracula's therapist because he ate his therapist. Okay, yeah, Lord Dracula is depressed and ate his therapist. Now you have to step in and cheer up the inhabitants of his castle as the newly appointed therapist. Okay, so it's WSD for all that. Okay. I think this is the one that you can play within the thing. Within the window? I'm not sure. But we'll backlog it. Okay. Oh my witch. What does the bottom say? The monster curse? I think this is a dating sim. It is the first year I have the chance to join Halloween Parade. Okay. I guess this is the character talking. But why the monster kidnapped me to the other world? Oh, this must not be in English. That's okay. That's totally fine. It looks like there is English translations. What should I do? Okay, so this is part one. The lovely monster. It seems cute. Yeah, we'll backlog it. Okay. Free beta. That means there's bugs. You've just moved into your new apartment, but something scary is going on. Thankfully, you've got the internet to help you. Search Wahoo answers on your laptop to figure out what's going on, and maybe you can be happy in your new place. I'm still here is available. Okay. So it looks like there's just like a scary games. Okay. Some people are saying it's not scary, it's just funny. I'll backlog it anyway. There's a spider crawling up behind my monitor and not staring at me right behind my camera. It's big. I didn't see it. I'm ignoring it. Okay, this one seems really cute. Welcome to Horrorvale, a world full of monsters, ghouls, and all sorts of fiendish undead. Help Alice on her quest to save her dog from strange and unusual monsters who suddenly showed up in Horrorvale. Horrorvale is a scary RPG where you explore the world, battle monsters, uncover mysteries, and meet wacky characters. I don't think wacky is a good word. Meet weird characters. Don't worry about anyone you kill along the way. Everyone is already dead. Over 30 characters to recruit in your party. This one I think I'll have to like, okay, let's see. This might be like turn-based, like Final Fantasy, Pokemon kind of turn-based stuff. The art style's really nice. Okay, we'll backlog it just because I like the art style. I will look into it more. I'll watch like a video on it and I'll vet and see if it's a perfect fit. Now this one, I heard about it and I don't know if it was just for VR at the time. Okay, so four young scouts and their scoutmaster venture into the forest to sing campfire songs and assert their dominance over nature. A chill breeze pushes through the branches, carrying hushed whispers about the curious newcomers. Fire sizzle and pops as shadows dance across the trees with sticks in hand and visions of gooey marshmallows in their eyes. The scouts look to their leader to provide them with the forest's bounty. Interactive fiction that can be completed in about 10 minutes and designed to accommodate users with little VR experience. I'm assuming this is still VR. I do not have VR. I'm still gonna backlog it. I don't have a VR, but that's okay. Eventually. Okay, I saw this one. Sheepy, a short adventure. So this is a demo. Help Sheepy, an abandoned plushie, brought to life as he explores a forgotten, broken world. Sheepy, a short adventure is the first short game from Mr. Suicide Sheep. Independently handcrafted, a short handcrafted, fully independent pixel art platformer spanning several zones with unique skills to unlock, discover an abandoned world full of secrets and lore influenced by themes driven by the music and community of Mr. Suicide Sheep for more than 10 years. Hmm. It seems cute enough. Oh yeah. This is getting backlogged. Oh yeah, this is the one that's within the window. I will check this out on my own time because we're not playing any games right now. Just looking. So far, so good. Okay, this one was Pet Exorcism. Pet Exorcism is a multiplayer game for two or more players. One player will act as the pet's guardian and the others will act as the exorcist. Work together to solve puzzles and save the guardian's beloved pet. Good luck, have fun, and happy exercising. This game was created in 14 days for the virtual pet game jam created by Team Dog Pit. Seems rough. I'm not sure if like other people have to have the game or not. I'm not sure where I read that it didn't. It seems a little disturbing. Hmm. Who gets to be the pet? I will watch a YouTube video on this later, but I will backlog it. Oh yeah, that's right. This game was no longer available, but I enjoyed the art style. More information. Okay. There's no link to that one. Oh, this one's on Steam. Okay. Um, Pumpkin Poetry is the first game. Join Sheet Cat on Halloween night and listen to the furfolk of Ghost Street recite their famous Halloween poems. Oh god, I can't talk. Take a brisk trot down the sidewalk, listen to jammin' tunes on your own uwu pod, and read a collection of Poison of Pumpkin poetry. Interesting. It's a short game with two possible endings, so please take your time and soak it all in. That's adorable. Backlogged. Okay, Yokai Detective seemed very interesting. Hmm. Yeah. Eh. Nah. Okay, Camp Clover. The reason why I didn't like want the other one, it just seemed too. You're gonna think I'm gross, but it seemed too visual novel, like adult visual novel for me, so it just kind of weirded me out, and I didn't want to play the video on stream in case it was. So, and it doesn't seem like it is looking through the comments on the game itself. It's just it makes me uncomfortable. Okay, Camp Clover. Camp Clover is a short first-person horror exploration game. It's an experience where every moment has to be carefully considered in order to survive. 13-year-old Kana is about to experience the most terrifying summer camp of her life. Collecting incriminating evidence as you run and hide from your new camp counselors, evade detection, and work your way through the dark to find a way home. Inspired by Give Yourself Goosebumps interactive novels. Okay. A 15 to 30-minute experience that can be completed in one sitting, an experience that focuses on stealth and timing rather than action or puzzles. Haunting atmospheric music. Oh, excuse me. An eerie environment that rewards players who like to hide in the dark. Okay. Let's look at some of the screenshots. Ooh. Okay. Backlogged. Okay. So I don't want to spoil the Fragot one. So Raccoon Rummage. I'm gonna say that for pay too. Um, Butterfly Tea. Hmm. Ghost Tag? What's that one? It's a human and a ghost fighting each other. If you touch the human, it becomes ghost. Okay. Seems like a multiplayer game. Turnip Terror? We'll look at it. Devil's Gekaron. Visual novel. Okay. Project Cat also looks like a visual novel. Not that visual novels are bad. I just want more of an immersive game than that. And I'm not sure if Castle. What? Okay, we're gonna look at that one. Go Crunch. Crunch. That one is. I want something that's like Stardew, but Stardew. Unless, again, I don't know about any uh, horror mods or creepy mods for Stardew. And if I don't, and I need to look these up, then I will. I don't see anything that's catching my eye. A scapegoat. Okay, let's look this up together because I need to figure out what kind of game. I think I have Steam open. Do I have Steam open? No, I do not. Okay, let's just look at um okay. Let's look at here. Life sim. Farming sim? Okay, let's see if we have a farming sim. Let this scroll all the way back up. Yeah. Let's see if they have it. Okay, they just have farming. Okay. What's this? An easy point and click game focused on guarding and selling. No, that's not what I want. Harvest Festival 64? Welcome to the town. Luckily for you, just in time for the Harvest Festival. Help your new friends with their preparation and enjoy life. Okay, that's weird. Oh, it kind of reminds me of uh Animal Crossing. Upsetting imagery. Okay. Trigger warning, content warning. Um, Spoilers, that's totally fine. Flashing images and colors, unsettling imagery, suicide implied off screen, burning body, sacrifice. Okay, I mean, how bad could it be? Question mark. I know they have like a little video. Uh we'll backlog it. Okay, let's go back to okay, life sim pixel graphics. Let's see if we can find something that has pixel graphics. Let's take this off. Pixel art. Let's see. Bubble J Cat? Okay, no, we're not doing that. Okay, we have Sheepy. We have Ghoulmaster. Sun and Moon. Saki. Ludum 46 theme, keep it alive. Hmm. Okay, we'll look at it. Digit Stream. Egg friends. The water is wide. No. EM. Lilith's hunger. Halloween stories? It's okay, we'll open that one. The creature. Don't roast the visitor. I don't know why that creeps me out. Get the chills. Walk through the woods. Hmm. Okay, that kind of looks cute though. Spiky Wakey monster game. Summer Camp of the Dead. 2D side-scrolling survival horror game. Okay. Vampire. Nightlight. That have a. Okay, that's all there is. Nothing else really piqued my interest. Like, it's got a cute cover, but okay. And then the other one was Life Sim. JK's Everyday. The land far, far away is in mass hysteria. People are buying stores of their rat-proofing materials. Morals at an all-time low. Sociability is perfectly non-existent or practically non-existent, and your rent is overdue. JK is a sad, sad little man who works in real estate. His boss is a literal pig, and he's the only one who can understand it. Oh, an actual pig. His tenant sucks, as does his life. His only friends can even provide console, as they're even more swamped with work than usual. To make matters worse, the plague is approaching. Um, you know, I don't want to play this. What else? What else was Stardew? RPG? Let's see if we can find that a little bit nicer. It's okay. Nothing. MS Paint Pop House. Ooh, okay, let's look at that one. Vampire Special Order Alpha demo has been released. Okay, it's got pizza and vampires. Don't judge me, please. Paper Lily, no, it's more like a visual novel. Role playing, not really. Hmm. This one seemed promising, but God. Okay, really quick. I got high like the other night, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch like a horror documentary or like a murder documentary on YouTube. And I only clicked on it because they named the killer after like a My Little Pony character, and I thought it was funny. But not the fact that, the way it happened or just just hear me out. I was laughing cuz it's like, ha, I think maybe he, you know, murdered My Little Pony like stuffed animals or something, and like the 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 thumbnail for the YouTube video wasn't really telling of you know what the video was going to be about, and it was actually really bad. Really, really bad. And like listening to like halfway through, they're mainly focused on like his life and his obsession with My Little Pony. And it got to the point where they had the recorded phone calls of the people calling 911, and I cried because it was so disturbing and so awful. And I'm not laughing, it's just a nervous laugh. It was god awful. And I was like, can we watch something else? And I don't know why I'm bringing this up. Oh yeah, My Little Pony. Yeah, yeah. This I just I would never share this video with you guys because it's just so disturbing. It's so uncomfy. And I was like, haha, it's funny. And little did I know, that was it was a bad thing. So we're gonna avoid this. Like, I've been high before, but I've never ruined my own fucking high with that kind of shit. But also I felt like I was a little um tricked somehow into watching the video. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, let's look at some of these things. We're gonna close this window. Playing some Fort, so I'll be lurking behind. No worries. Enjoy Fortnite. Thank you for the lurk. Okay, what is this one? Castlevania. Like, oh wow. Like the cat. Like yeah. Like whatever. On Halloween night, you stumbled upon a haunted mansion on a desolated hill. You can't help but walking towards it, and the next thing you know, you were trapped inside. Will you manage to get out, or huh? Yes, we're backlogging this. Hi, Meowsabub. Thank you for that daily ritual. Okay, this is today we are looking through cute and creepy horror games to backlog so we have something to play after The Walking Dead. I do have other games on Steam that are, I think, the Escape the Backrooms, SCP something. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Then a couple others, and then I got gifted Doom. So those will be up for voting. And I hope you're having a good Sunday. How are you? What are you up to? I'm like so comfy and like sleepy. I just mm. Also, the sun's not supposed to be out and it's so bright. Like the light right here, that's the sun. Luna, that's perfect. Humu. That's perfect. You're joking. Never have to correct that. Okay, this one is Turnip Terror. You're evil and hungry. Mm, yeah, the sun. Yesterday I was in the garden. My back is sore, but we pulled all the weeds in the back garden. If you guys are not in my Discord, um, you guys will be able to see it or on my Instagram, but mainly I put everything in Discord if you guys want to hop in there. But we finished weeding yesterday and the garden looks nice. And then I also got my saplings or my seedlings I should say, some sun. I thought it was supposed to storm. Oh, excuse me, but it didn't. It was really nice yesterday. Really nice. But yeah, we're just backlogging some games, meow. Some cute ones. Okay, this one is turnip terror. Let's get root. Okay. You're evil and hungry. Your mission to harvest innocent baby turnips for a delicious salad, but beware of the root mother. Players harvest turnips by typing keyboard joypad combos. However, as soon as the mother turnip is watching, they must cease their harvest lest they wish to sustain her wrath. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. Oh, there's two. It's a two-player. Yes, I wasn't able to grow too much in the winter. Like I wanted to do like lettuce and some Napa cabbage, but my tomato plant and my wax banana peppers didn't overwinter. They died, but for whatever reason my bell pepper plant overwintered. I was snipping and trimming some of the branches and it overwintered. It's still green, it's still alive. But it could very well have been the wild dogs that my neighbors have that have destroyed the tomato and the wax pepper plant on top of being left out in the freeze. But for the most part, I think it just got too cold this year. We are not going to backlog this game. I will close this. Okay, that's the next one. Okay, what's this one? Saki. My new friend, I will keep you alive. Collect firewood while there are no evil mushrooms. Search and destroy all evil mushrooms. If your fire goes out for too long, you lose. Oh, okay, so it's like a timing game or something? I will backlog it. I like how the Stream Elements is like, oh yeah, I exist. Like all of a sudden. Okay, Halloween stories. It's your first Halloween in the new neighborhood, so you get out there and get to know the place. A lot of art was the work of Ranjan Uprity. Check out more of his art. Ooh, that's cute. Ooh, okay. Let's read this story really quick. There's one strange bug that happens when you exit the first area and then come back, where the player is suddenly drawn to on top of almost everything else. Not a game-breaking issue, but looks a bit strange. Seems to be a problem with the engine. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so it's an unfinished game. So I think it's just like a little side scroller. Let me see. Yeah. We'll still backlog it because it's cute. It's this one's called The Creature. This game is made. Okay, you just came back from night work. Suddenly crashing noises appear. A pair of glowing eyes in the middle of your room, looking cautiously at you. How should you investigate this? Can you identify this creature? Okay. It seems simple enough. We'll go ahead and do that. A short atmosphere. Okay, this one is This Better Work. A short atmospheric platformer prototype-ish game that I made for these 48-hour scary 2D game jam. I left it unlisted during the jam. You think? Hmm. There's no. Eh. It's called Time of Monsters, or there's. Yeah, no thanks. Okay, this is the one that I saw. I was like, oh, this is precious. Um, yes, please. Okay, Summer Camp with the Dead. I thought I had my glasses on and I went like this. Okay, Summer Camp with the Dead is a 2D side-scrolling survival horror game in pixel style made for the Pixel Nightmare 2019 Jam. You take the role of several kids in a summer camp that band together and fight for survival. It is a joint effort collaboration between Sub and Nebelstern. We've put together a playable version before the game jam ended. Oh, okay. Your goal in the demo is to collect junk from the forest to fix a radio. As there are many horrifying creatures around, and your means to defend yourself are very limited. You can hide the bushes or hide in barrels or behind barrels, but you also need to collect edible sources for those left behind in the shelter. If you can't keep up with demand, it's game over. You can switch between characters in the shelter. Okay, so it seems the game never came out, but this is just like a demo almost. Yeah, it seems like it was left in development still. But we'll backlog it. It's cute enough. Okay, Wandering Gleam. This is the one that I saw that looked interesting. And it reminded me of Stardew just a little bit. Wandering Gleam is a fantasy horror exploration RPG inspired by classic RPG maker games. Here you play as a mysterious little lonely flame in a world of cute and creepy imagery. You'll have to find a way to collect all the train tickets to reach an unknown destination. This is a very still early demo that represents the core idea of the final game. Visual and storylines may change from the final version. Hmm. Mm, we'll leave it alone. Oh, okay, this is the one. This is the one that I want. Vampire Special Order. I guess the alpha demo has been released. This demo was made for a 10th RPG horror or RPG Maker horror game jam. Dave Jr. is in for more than he can chew when he messes up a special order at his father's restaurant. Now he must fight for his life against hungry hordes of monsters, find the ultimate ingredients for your handcrafted pizzas to say, I don't know how to say that word. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. But that seems reasonable. Let's see. I love the receipt. Mm, not what I thought it was going to be. Man. Mm, no thanks. Okay, I know I said I was gonna wait for Pay to look at I forgot, but we'll look at it anyway. Okay. Just a normal day in your house when what's this? A super cool wizard frog needs your help. His name is Diego and he needs your help to get back to normal. He's got frog amnesia and forgot how to fix himself. Help Diego in this super cute, harmless, perfectly normal game. Gather some potion ingredients, become best buddies along the way, and sacrifice your friends. All of this and more. Oh my lord. Oh my goodness. Look at him. Oh, okay. This is like when you first wake up. This is just screenshots from somebody else. Dev notes, hi, this is my very first game I've made 3 months and over 350 hours later. It is far from perfect. However, I'm obsessed with it overall and I would love some feedback. Please email me or DM me Instagram with any bugs you find or other feedback related ideas. And then it with a strikeout, it says, only you can stop Diego's fires, and I don't know what that means. Um, okay, we won't read and like spoil the shit out of it. Let's watch the trailer. I don't know why, but I want to play this right now. Okay.
In a world where you make
Ooh, okay.
breakfast and you go and click on buttons. Look how beautiful the world is. Are we fighting dragons? Are we hunting
There's
down
some
mages? Are we killing
occlusion going
necromancers
on,
or
but it's
goblins?
just the
The
game
world
giving
may.
me
Is that a kiwi?
Santiago. What is that?
There's
It's a
things like
kiwi?
frogs in our house. Wait, why is there a frog in our house?
Oh my goodness.
No.
Oh my gosh, he's so precious.
That. Wait, hold on, wait, okay. We're not fighting goblins, not fighting dragons. There's a TV? Why is there a TV? Oh, I like pears. Pears are really cute. Wait, no, no!
Okay.
No!
Oh my goodness. I love pears. Okay.
Think happy thoughts, think happy thoughts, think happy thoughts.
It seems like you can break the game. Ooh. Okay. That was intense. I know you guys couldn't hear anything because I couldn't either, but I love this. I love him. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. We're not going to play it today because I said we're going to play Stardew. But that one is definitely backlogged. And then this one's called Raccoon Rummage. Peek, rummage, hide. Find treasure and don't make noise. Oh, look at the little paws and the nose. Okay, it looks like you have to like dig through the trash in order to find like chips. I love how there's like $20 bills like thrown away. It bothers me. Dr. Pisser. Okay, somebody doesn't like Dr. Pepper. Not water. And I see chips. Like you might have to like scratch away to get at these types of foods. Is it a pearl necklace? Okay, I'm done. Done. Well, the chaotic energy of the last one, right? The frog. If Pay doesn't play it, I'll fucking play it. I want to play it so bad right now, but like I said, we're gonna play Stardew. This one will also backlog. Oh, excuse me. And then I'll leave a link to. Okay, this is what I had originally. I'll leave a link in chat about about this website with all the tags in case you guys want to find anything. Switch over. A copy? Okay. Quit opera. And then we are here. Then I'm gonna try starting up Stardew. If I can find it. There it is. While that's running, I'm gonna take a BRB about maybe 15 minutes. But yeah, I will see you guys in a little bit. we're back. I'm just trying to figure this out. I can't hear it. Okay, I have returned. Okay. Weather report. Clear and sunny all day, and it's okay. That's okay. Is there new stuff in here that I don't? New stuff. Okay. That was strange. Let's go beat up some more stuff. Oh god. I know. How do I do this? I'm trying to use controller because every time I'm on my desk, it wiggles and I'm tired of my camera shaking. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh wow, it's X. Well, if you have Xbox controller. Whoops. Whoops. Okay. No. Okay, this is probably not the right thing. I'll eventually figure this out. I will. I think this might be a geode. Nope. Okay, I forgot what we need to build, but we need to build something. I think it was like a hen house? Or like something for chickens? Oh god, okay, I'm wasting my energy. Titties. I don't know if you guys want to hear, like... Here, let me see. 'Cause I mean, I like the... Let's do it this way. Because the music's cute, but for the most part, I'm like, Okay. So I want my music. Okay. Nope, that's not the right tool. This one. Eventually I'll get into mods for Stardew, but I just, like I said earlier, your girl was lazy. And not even lazy. Like I said, I think it's also because I'm tired today, and, like, finding out, like, oh, there are mods for this game. Maybe not so much horror, but, like, to make it more, like, darker. Think... Okay, this side's good. What's back here? Yeah, the shrine. Oops, oops. Let's dig up some stuff. Ankle. Stretch. Hi, Soy. How are you? Happy Sunday. Oh, that was my sternum. Oh, that felt good. Okay. I'm slowly trying to figure out these controls, and I can't for the life of me. I would use my keyboard. I'm okay, a bit tired today. Even though I napped, I feel exhausted. I feel that. That has been me today. Even though, I mean, I went to bed super late, but I slept in quite a bit. How do I open things? Okay. Yeah, I slept in quite a bit, but I'm still tired. So I feel that. Very sleepy Sunday. Let's... But I hope you get some more rest. There's nothing wrong with sleeping. Absolutely nothing. But what do you have planned for today? If you don't mind me asking. One day I'll figure out these fucking controls on console. Having a smoke and maybe Sims. Ooh, that sounds lovely. I love that for you. Oops. Oop, that's not what I want. Yeah, earlier we backlogged. I wanted to stream, but my girlfriend is in a lot of pain, so I've just been checking on her. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope she feels better. That sucks. And I'm assuming it's like period pains, maybe? Those are never fun. Well, it's so nice of you to, like, keep an eye on her and make sure she's comfortable. Or they're comfortable. I got her smoking. She has period pain and bad body aches. Hi, little Ash. How are you today? Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. If you can't tell, I'm having a very hard time with Stardew and controller. Usually I'm a keyboard girl, but I'm tired of my camera shaking every time I use my keyboards. Like this one for that PC or this one. It's very annoying. But how are you today? I saw your outfit and I am in love. I think it was on Twitter. I think I just liked it while I was on break. But what are you doing today? Ooh, I got a geode. You're very welcome. It's most of the farm. Nice. We started earlier and then went to see the new Demon Slayer movie. How was it? Sorry, I just realized I was like clicking on my controller and I was like, what if they can hear that? Because I have it like sitting right here. I'm not a big Demon Slayer fan, but I know it has like a lot of good imagery, at least in the anime. It's really good. It's basically the next 4 episodes on the series, but all together in a short movie in the theaters. Oh, okay. I love that. Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy yourself. What were your plans in Stardew, if you don't mind me asking? That's not where I want to put that. I don't think I've played this in the last like couple weeks. So anything I did, it's just been like this. I bought a goat. I need to get some farm animals. Let's see. What do I need to do? I need to do something. Smelting, meet the wizard. Advancement. Okay. Build the coop. I have a lot of stuff I need to get through. I played this game. I have like over 500 hours on one save, but I can't bring myself to play it anymore. I messed up my plans for the farm, and I'm slowly feeling like I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. I wish these in-ears would stay in my ears. It'd be nice. I have to meet the wizard. Up. Give someone a gift. Smelting. Make a copper bar. Yeah, if you can't tell, I need to do a lot of stuff. How much coal do I need? Uh, I swear, I promise, I'm good at Stardew. It's just the controls. AFK. No, you are totally fine, Soy. 4, 5. Okay, so I don't have enough. Wing. That's totally fine. Never played Stardew. If you like, pixel art and like Survivor, not Survivor, it's not more Survivor, but it's more like a farming sim, I think you'd like it. Okay, so we... Oh, you can't tell I'm already messing up. Okay, I can't get through there. Really quick, Soy, and I'm pretty sure you probably know this, but um sometimes if the into couch stuff doesn't work for my body pains, I usually do CBG. I guess CBG targets muscles, like in muscles inside, rather than CBG where it's just like a like anxiety relief. Trying not to say too much because I don't know how much I could get in trouble for. But yeah, that's what I know for like back pain. I'll see if I can get some tomorrow. Yeah, especially if the into couch stuff is like too has too much THC in it to where it's more of a um like a brain high, like too much of a brain high and body high. CBG like will still like make you feel like relaxed, but it'll be more of like a pain reliever. But you'll be able to concentrate and focus, and you won't be so out of it, if that makes sense. Yeah. Usually I am a hybrid person, a CBG or a CBD person. CBG, I'm like I can um, deal with pain a lot better without having to take ibuprofen. I'm going to go to the dispensary tomorrow and see what I find. Okay, yeah, no problem. What time is it? It's 11:20. Yeah, this will be my last rock. Nope, I lied. This will be my last rock. I know I could have easily gone that way to go back to my house, but I want to take the scenic route. Yes, I know it's 12 a.m. God. And Sunny. What else? Fortune teller. Okay, well, I mean, it's too bad. Yeah, I do need to build a scarecrow. Oop, I got mail. Robin here. I know there's lots of stone scattered around your farm. If you have a surplus, you might consider having me build a well for you. Wells can be placed all over your farm and serve as convenient places to refill your watering can. Just swing by my shop with 75 stones and 1,000 gold when you're ready for it. I still have to build a coop, lady. Another one. Missing. Lost my favorite axe. If you find it, please return ASAP. I'm having a tough time without it. There's 250 gold in it for whoever finds the thing. Ooh, I know where this is at. This was like my first... Ooh, I gotta water my stuff. I forgot what I grew. Oh, I guess it's ready? Is it ready? Yeah. Oops, oops. Nope, stop it! Okay. I still did it anyway. I hate that, like, this game is, like, so stinking accurate. Ugh, speaking of accurate, so, offline, like, off-stream, personal time, I've been playing a game called Kingdom Come Deliverance, and it is the most difficult, annoying game in the entire world, but it fucking scratches the medieval, worm that I have floating around in my fucking brain. Ugh, I can't go that way. And, like, I've always been, like, somebody who's drawn to medieval history and imagery. But yeah, the game is like every LARP dream that I've ever had, or live action roleplay dream that I've ever had. But the fighting is so fucking annoying. So annoying. No, I don't. Why did I water that? I want to pick that up. I think her axe is over here. Ooh, radish. Or horseradish, yeah. Yeah, I love the game. I love it. But it's just too... The fighting is too much. The sword fighting. And I'm constantly dying. I think it's back here somewhere. Oh, leaks. Inventory full. Let's eat. Yes. Yeah, I love the game, but at the same time, I literally could not fight somebody for the life of me, and I kept dying over and over and over again. And I have not raged on a game, and I did. I raged last night. It was very... I can only carry 5 at a time? What is that? Okay, this isn't helping. Yes, let's eat the dandelion. I don't think it does anything. Oh, it does. Oh, there's her axe. But yeah, it's so annoying. But the imagery in the game is fucking beautiful. Just, I'm not a great sword fighter. Like, at all. And it is one of the most difficult things in the world to learn. It's just... It's so intense. Almost too intense for me. Like, I love-hate relationship with it. Maybe I could get a coop made. Of course, it's gonna make me go all the way up. The one thing that I do with... Oh, I can't even go that way. I wish with Stardew is that I could run. And maybe I can, and I haven't figured it out yet. But I doubt it. Can't go that way. God, I keep getting stuck. So tomorrow, I know I switched... So today was supposed to be yesterday. I did end up gardening. And if you're not in my Discord, you can join. But that's where I put like all of the pictures of the garden and and everything like that. Um, Tomorrow, I know it was supposed to be 10 a.m., but I have to be at work earlier than I thought I was supposed to. And also, I didn't know I was gonna get called in tomorrow, which is totally fine. Um, but it's supposed to be at 5 or 6 o'clock. Abigail, what's up? Okay. Let's purchase things. Can we do that? Can we? Okay. Construct farm buildings. Oh, that's right. I don't have enough. What was I saying? But yeah, tomorrow, might not happen for stream. I'm not sure how long I need to stay at work. It was just like, hey, can you come in, at this time? And I was supposed to go in Tuesday, but they needed me on Monday, so hopefully tomorrow happens. If not, we'll figure it out. It's a little annoying, but for the most part, I'm just trying to ask them to keep me on a steady schedule. I know that that's sometimes not possible, but it's just like a little request that I put in, and it's like, please, I would like a, steady schedule. And then Wednesday, I have my, I have another appointment, I think at like 10:30, and then I have to go into work after that. I have to ask again if they need me or not. And it's a very open schedule. It's a very open schedule, very, flexible. I can get up at any time and go in and then, leave. But I'm a person that needs schedules, that needs lists, that needs to... I need to go over here. That needs, some kind of structure. Let's see. Since we're not fishing right now, the fishing in this game is absolutely absurd. That drives me wild. Makes me very angry. And I know it shouldn't. It's just a game, but it's like, it's so difficult. I didn't see how much I needed for wood, so we're just gonna play the guessing game and try and clear out as much as we can. So I really need some animals and some money. My body is so sore from yesterday. Oh wow, that went into the water. But I'm excited. Some of my plant babies are... I thought the freeze got to them because I accidentally left them outside. And I was like, well, there goes most of what I wanted to do. But, I mean, you know, stupid groundhog was like, hey, I'm gonna look at my shadow and get scared. I know it's not, like, you know, it's unpredictable whether we're gonna have 6 more weeks of winter or not, but still, it's like, he got scared, and now I think it's, he got scared, and now he has, now we have 6 more weeks of winter. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure. But yeah, so I've been trying to... Okay, so I am the type of person that if I can get it for free, I'll get it for free. So like scrap wood, I need to start making like a little garden station for... So my office window right here, there's like an awning area, and I want to put all of my gardening stuff right there. Because on, like, not even 5 feet away from it, there's my garden right there. God damn it, I keep doing this wrong. But I want to start building, like, a mini greenhouse, because right now I just have a clear plastic tote that I'm using to germinate all of my seeds into saplings. The garlic took off. I can't remember what else I planted, and that's what I get for not labeling stuff. Which is typical me, but it's okay. I can identify it once it's, like, it starts to actually become a plant or, like, a sapling. But yeah, I want a better greenhouse, and I want a little garden table where I can, um, you know, sift. And I didn't know this, because usually I would just, throw in some potting soil and throw in seeds, but I didn't know that you're supposed to sift the potting soil so that it, you know, the sapling or the seedlings don't have to fight to, you know, grow upwards. And I didn't know that. And I felt really bad. I was like, well, that's probably why a lot of my plants didn't make it last year. And I just went with starter plants. Let's see. How much wood do I have? I can't remember how much I need. I think it was like 300 stone. Oh my god. Yeah, I want a little garden area behind, out my office window. Be nice. Sorry, I got like my serious face on. Okay, so that's most of everything. I need 5 copper ores, I think, in order to do the smelting. Let's do the other one. Time runs by so fast in this game, I keep forgetting. It's like, oh wow, it's probably only like 6 o'clock. It is like almost 9 o'clock in game. Jesus Christ. Okay, there we go. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow goes the way I want it to, because I think I pushed stream to like 5 or 6 p.m. So hopefully, like, I'm home before that so I can get ready. Oh god, it got so dark. Okay, let's go back. I still also have to upgrade my tools so that I can... Jesus. Okay. Okay, I can do this without passing out and owing somebody money on my farm. I've had that happen so many times. And I'm not sure, like, when we first loaded into the save, if you saw, like, more than 1,000,000 gold, or at least close to it, your eyes did not deceive you. It is... That is, I cheated to get money. God. Egg festival. I never win the damn, Okay, good. I never win the Easter egg hunt. I always fail at it. Oh, yes. Marnie and the kitty cat. All my cats have been named Sushi, so we're gonna name them Sushi. Also, the relationship between the town's mayor and Marnie is, like, really interesting. I always lose the egg hunt, so I don't know why this pertains to me. Pertains to me. God. Okay. I love how this little guy's all by himself. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's look at this. Yoink. Okay, smelting. Still have to smelt. Still have to meet the wizard. Still have to give a gift. Need to reach level 1 in farming and build a coop. I wish it would tell me how much I need so I don't have to go, like, all the way back to Robin's house. And I know I still have to upgrade my weapons. Well, I mean, technically, but I still have to, like, upgrade my tools. kind of go around and make sure like no other trees start to pop up. Oops. Oops. Okay. Good lord. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm just wasting my energy. Okay. Ooh, I missed a stick. Let's grab that. Oh god. Nope. That's... Nope. This game hates me. Okay. Run back. Oh, I cannot wait to get a horse. Let's run back to Robin's and see how much we need. And I don't know where my cat's at. Okay. I got ramen. Construct. So I need 300 pieces of wood. Well, isn't that dandy? Oh wait, can't I buy wood from her? 4,000? This is annoying. Yeah, I don't have 4,000 gold. You know, screw this place. Well, bye, lady. I'm gonna eat some ramen. Is this hot? Sorry, I'm hungry. I need a napkin. Babe, if you're listening, can I have a napkin? Okay, so I don't have enough money to do shit, so I guess we can go see the wizard. Other crops can I sell or buy? How much is this dang thing? I don't even have that. Jesus. Jesus? My whatever. Bye. Yeah, let's go visit the wizard. Wizard. I think we can go down this way. I wish you could still have animals without a barn. I want a cow already. Oh wait, I can... Oh wait, that's right. I don't have enough money anyway, so it wouldn't really matter. Wouldn't hurt to collect more wood. While we're out and about. Can I get to the wizard this way? I think so. Collect some wood. God damn it. just a little reminder. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. As quiet as I am right now. Um, but it means a lot to me that you're here. And we're just vibing. Oh my goodness. You guys are so cute. They make the cutest little noises. I wish you could date the wizard. I'd only date him because he's in a purple boot. Well, you seem scary, wizard, so. So I got like noodle juice all over my chin. Wish I could fucking teleport. Okay, well. Rugging me. Oh, thank you. I love you. Yeah, pot stickers. They're piping hot. Ow. This part of the game, when I played it, really wigged me out. I've gained the power of forest magic. Now I can decipher the true meaning of the Junimo scrolls. Okay. I didn't get anything. Okay, so we need to reach level 1 in farming, build a coop, give someone a gift, and smelt. Let's chop up some more wood. Nope. God damn it. Maybe we'll fill up our canteen, our watering can. Yeah, I can't wait to fix up my garden and just have it the way I want. Oh, ooh, the lady's here. Wagon lady. Goodness, I'm stuck. Okay. Tulip, slime, eye, crystal ore, bug meat. Your seed, coffee bean. No thanks, lady. Bye. This. Oh, it's just him snorting. Odd. Okay, let's chop some more wood. Obviously, we still need to upgrade our tools. I almost said weapons again. I've been playing too much Kingdom Come, like, off stream. And it's... I mean, it's every medieval girl's, like, fantasy, but at the same time, it's just... If your clothes are dirty, or if you have blood on them, people will either talk to you or they won't talk to you. It was definitely a okay, whatever. It was definitely a PC game created and modified to be put on console. Yeah, I'm gonna turn this lower for myself. It's like almost too loud. Okay. Also gonna change the jump. They have it set to witchy lo-fi, but oh, it's so hot. Okay. Damn it, I still can't go there. Okay, let's see what we can put in here. Oh wait, let's take these out. Let's smelt, and then no, it's too late to go to the speed. I don't know how long it takes. It's pretty long. The pot sticker I just ate was still temperature hot. I don't think I burnt my tongue. Oh. Okay, how to win friends, give someone a gift. So we'll have to like find a flower or something. You know what? Let's sell a geode. I know. Just sell one. No, I want to sell just one. I got no, not yet. Gotta pet the cat. Kitty, 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 kitty. There we go. She sleeps. That scared me. I hated that. I only got 50 G's. I only got 50 gold. That was an explosion? Yes. Okay. Clear and sunny all day. Sorry, I'm like find different. Like I didn't like that. No, this one's fine. Okay, neutral. I can deal with that. Time to feed the kitty, even though I know it eats more than just water. But hear this twice. Give me a second. Can you guys still hear that? The music? So if you can't, please let me know. God damn it. Oh shit, wasn't the egg festival yesterday? Ah crap. It's alright. Oh, okay. Funny strawberry seeds? Seasonal plant? I do love my seasonal plants. Fuck it. We'll splurge today. Let's talk to some people. At first, I was such a, Can I not talk to him again? I think his name's Shane. Yeah, it was such a Shane stan. And it's like, oh, I can fix him. He's the broody type, and that just yeah. If we're gonna do any kind of romance, and we're gonna romance Abigail. This guy's weird. I don't know if I have to like. I already talked to him. Not yet. I have not talked to everybody yet. Leah's cool, but eh. I still want to do. I never find all the fucking eggs, and I don't. I want to play. I want to play. I want to do the Easter egg hunt, but at the same time, like. I think I talked to everybody. No, I did not. I lied. I didn't want to talk to you. I guess I'll talk to you. I think you're the last person I have to talk to. Chocolate eggs. Ugh. Okay, now we can start. I always love doing this, just little... Oh god, will it let me do it? No. Of course, because I'm on console. Oh, nah, that's not too bad. So let's start. God. I can do it, I can do it. Fuck these little kids. Fuck them kids. Oh, okay, no, 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 no. That's mine. That is my egg. Oh, she missed it. Okay, good. Move it. I honestly forgot how to play this. I think is that one? Yeah, that's one. Fuck. I was trying to go for the one in the back of the truck and behind the house. I don't think I won. Look at all those chickens. It's not me. Of course. How many fucking eggs? Cheating ass whore. Oh god. Kitty, get off my bed. Ugh. They're never happy. Okay, what coleslaw? Ugh, I hate coleslaw. Like, okay, so like typical KFC, like southern coleslaw, I don't like. But I'll happily eat like pork katsu, um coleslaw. Or like any kind of coleslaw like that. Napa cabbage isn't that bad. Like Japanese and Chinese cabbage aren't that bad. But the way the US makes coleslaw just makes my tummy hurt. Oh my god. Can I not? Okay, there we go. Hi, kitty. Oops. I didn't mean to wet my cat. Oh. Jeez Louise. Oh yeah, I forgot I bought this. Put it in the house. Lens. We'll plant some strawberries. Yeah, maybe it's time to build a well. I don't know, I need to go open these geodes. Make some money. Because your girl broke. I thought I left. Oops. I could read the SSA. I do not have a quartz. Ooh, trash can. Oh, wait, maybe no trash can. God damn it. Okay, upgrade tools. Oh, that's one. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. I think I can buy... I refuse to go into the mines anymore. Oh, oopsie. That's why. Guess I might have to. Ugh. Yeah, let's... I just wasted 150 gold for, like, no reason. Rip. But I get no prize. Your girl needs some cash. I need to make a coop so I can have chickens. Nothing. Is there a trash can over here? Mm-hmm. Potatoes? Do I have room for potatoes? I do. I know your girl's not supposed to be spending money, but here I am. Okay. I know I still have to gift somebody something, but I haven't found anything I could gift yet. Wow, 70 snacks? If you could have 70 snacks, what snack, like what main snack would you have? I know, random question, but also, hi Jules. Hope you are well. We're just chilling, it's just quiet, semi-dialogue. Did I already pet my cat today? Oh, yeah, semi-dialogue, just super chill. Have 70 overall snacks or like 70 chips in the bag. I guess that you bring up a good point. 70 overall snacks. Like what one snack would you want to have that's 70? If that makes sense. Why can't I plant these? Oh, that's why. I mean, 70 chips is in a bag would be decent, would be nice. Sorry, my little sister was like, "Hey, um, can I come over?" It's like, "I'm streaming, but you can bother your big brother." 79 bags of Doritos or taquitos? Hmm. Like what flavor though? There's like a ton of different flavors of Doritos. Maybe not as much of, or maybe not as much as like, Lay's, but enough. But what are you up to today? I almost gave myself the hiccups. Is that close? 7-Eleven Monterey Jack chicken taquitos. I don't know why that was hard for me to say. Those are actually really good. I've only had them like a couple of times. I mean, if you're the if the older you get, the more things give you heartburn. And then the more bottles of Pepsid that you have by your nightstand or in your bathroom or in your kitchen cabinet, medicine cabinet, or you know what I mean. Oh shit, there it is. Okay, I'm using a controller today instead of keyboard and mouse because every time I use keyboard and mouse, it shakes my camera and it bothers me quite a bit. I notice it. I don't think you guys notice it that much, but I didn't want to water it. Okay. But it annoys the hell out of me. Yeah. It bothers me quite a bit. But yeah, we're just chilling. We did do a lot of backlogging for some cute, creepy horror games. Some that probably could be finished within like 5 to 10 minutes on stream. But it would drive me wild too if my camera was as clear as yours. Yeah, so my um so I have open so this is a Logitech. This was gifted but to me from my dad. Um this is the C9 something Pro, I think. Or maybe I could be wrong, but I use the Logicam uh I use the Logic Capture so that I can tweak the settings in there. And then I have that open while I have OBS open. But I used to have the settings just for OBS without having to open Logicam, but I needed the clarity. And I know before it looked like I was streaming from a potato. But it'd been like almost an entire year of me streaming with a potato.
Oh yeah.
LMAOWTF.
Hi Nora, what's up? Way to get that first. Hello Jelly. Oh, well, I feel like mine is just clear enough. No, I can see. It's fine. Hi Nora, how are you? Welcome in. We're just, kicking back, low dialogue, small dialogue. We're just keeping it as chill as possible. I can't hear it, unfortunately, but you guys can, and I'm hoping you can. Sure. Were you able to hear it? If not, it's gonna break my heart. No, I didn't, but I heard it. Okay, good. Yeah, it's not. And unfortunately, I don't know why I can't hear it, but it's okay. As long as all of my alerts are working, that's totally fine. But how are you today, Normal? Oh god, it's like dark. Also, I'm eating pot stickers and spicy ramen. Got out from Almost Snap. I was about to ask. Yummy, nice. Um, but yeah, nice on the nap. Damn it. Oh yeah. Um, just chilling today. I'm so sleepy. It seems like everybody's having a sleepy Sunday. Oh no, no! I want the TV right there. Oh God. I'm still getting used to the controls on the controller. I was telling Jules that I hate the fact that whenever I use my keyboard, it jiggles my camera. And I was like, well, where could I set it up that, I can make like a little shelf that I could set it up there. So if I'm like jiggling or if like I'm typing, yeah. So if I'm typing, I won't jiggle the thing, but it's okay. Yeah, it's clamped right on the middle of my what is it? My monitor. Words are not my friend today. Salmon berry. Oh, give me the berries. Can I have those berries? Yes. Yeah, super chill. We did backlog a bunch of horror games earlier. Some free ones that are supposed to be like creepy, cute. I was just trying to find something similar to Stardew, but the gardener, I wanted to give you a little tip. Most crops only grow in one season. Okay, yeah, I know that. Yes, ma'am. Oops. Yeah, there's one that reminded me of Pay. It's called I Forgot. It's frog and then OT, like I forgot. It's a very I'll have to look at it. Sorry, it's just always so nice. Yeah. Um it's very relaxing. It's like I took okay, so yesterday I was supposed to stream, but I decided to work on my back garden. I think you're in the Discord. I haven't popped in just yet today. But I did post like progress pictures and just of my plant babies. But yeah, that's what I did yesterday instead of stream. And then I decided, you know what, anytime that I have, my choice, like everyone knows I'm gonna stream on this day, but I'm not gonna set a time. And it was like the best thing in the world. Like, yeah, I did hurry up a little bit because I didn't want to stream too late, but it was nice. It was nice to just uh take my time getting ready and, waking up instead of rushing. Obviously, with, planned games or, and stuff like that, I'm not gonna, you know, oops, I'm not gonna, just set a whenever time. But it really helped. It really helped. I got everything I needed done, although audio is still left to be desired. Um, yeah, it really worked out the way it did today. Albeit I did finish all of my assignments, like my written like essays at 3 in the morning, and then I woke up at like 10. So I mean I still got sleep. I still got sleep. Still got sleep. But I should probably sleep at a more decent time. Yeah, sleep is good. I've been sleepy all day. I just feel cozy and I wanted to implement that into today. And that's why we have the title and it's been raining and just, not in a bad way, but just it's been like a decent rain, and it's very nice, and it makes me want to go to sleep and curl up. But yeah, okay. Same. I need to get better at going to bed at more decent hour. Yeah, but the other night I stayed up till 2 yelling. Oh no, it was last night. I stayed up till like 2, like I said, 2 or 3, yelling at my husband because he's wanting to play Dead by Daylight now. And he was playing Killer, and I was like, "You're doing it wrong." So I thought it was funny. But he's like, "Can you stop yelling at me?" I thought it was funny. But he didn't. I think I hurt his feelings a little bit. Yeah, he's fine though. He's just like, "I was doing good. What are you talking about? What are you saying? I was doing great." I was like, "No, you missed this hook and you don't know what you're doing," but I'm just messing with him. Eventually, he wants to play. I'm not sure if Discord or if PlayStation is like has the connection that Xbox does with Discord. Is he wants to play Survivor with me and his little brother, and usually I'm a killer. No, I don't play Survivor unless I'm playing with other people. Usually, 3+. This is also one aspect of the game that I never got to like experience. I never got the key. I never got to go into the sewers or anything like that. What am I doing down here? I was doing something. What does this say? Okay, advancement, raising animals. Okay, let me go. I have flowers? That lady here? Probably not. No, the wagon's not here. Little mouse. Well, I don't think the mouse is out yet. Still have to upgrade all my stinking tools. Maybe I'll clear all of the rocks up here. But yeah, he's fine. I told him sorry. I was just like, "What are you doing?" Hydrate? Okay. Music stop. Oh wait, no it didn't. Your hair looks badass today, by the way. Oh, thank you. I fixed it up, and at first I was like, I hate it. It's gross, but I like the way it looks now. But thank you. Yeah, today's just kick back, chill. I am gonna post like in the Discord, probably just in the Discord and not on Twitter or anything. I don't know why I did that. Or like games to play out of the backlog that we have. I think it was Doom Eternal that I was gifted, which is another game that I probably have to play through. Not on, not hatefully, like I have to, but it was gifted and, I want to play it. I do like Doom to begin with, though. So I will have to do that. I'll have to make a list, probably sometime this week. And hopefully tomorrow goes the way I have it planned. I have to get up bum ass early, and I don't want to. Nope. Yeah. Work wasn't supposed to call me in tomorrow, and I want them to, like, give me a, set schedule, and they won't. And I told them, I work better off of a set schedule, not just because stream, I also have work, like homework, like assignments to do. And sometimes when I'm at work, I don't have time to do it. and there's times where I do. But this month is just art history, and I think it's college mathematics after that. So it's not anything too difficult. So that's what I wanted. It's just like, come on, let me have a break somewhere. But what are you up to today, Nora, for the rest of your day? Hmm. I don't have a gift I could give anybody, and I don't feel like going into the sewers. Found Trish. Hi, welcome in. Just been listening to true crime. How are you today, Zara? I want a diamond paint. I went to Michael's like the other day, and when I say the other day, I really mean like it could be anywhere from yesterday to like a month or a couple weeks ago to like a couple months ago. I want to diamond paint. Yeah, I want to diamond paint uh really bad, but I feel like I wouldn't have the patience to. I don't have a whole lot of patience to begin with. Doesn't make me a bad person though. I'm a very impatient person, and I need. I also see that squirrel climb up in that tree. That was weird. Yeah, and yeah, that's why I could never get into crocheting or cross stitching. I don't have the motor skills to like be like consistent with patterns. I I can't do it. It seems like it would be a fun off-stream project. I feel like it's a real like um uh not performative project, but just like when you're having all eyes on you, it just makes it seem like that much more nerve-wracking. Oh, the mouse isn't here yet. Well, that's right, he hasn't sent me a letter. Okay, I still need to build a coop. I still need to gift something to somebody, and then I need to upgrade or reach a level 1 in farming. But your girl ain't got 4K. She ain't got. I don't know what to gift somebody. I don't want to give somebody something and then be like, I hate it. Oh god. Yeah, I'm not sure what Pay's up to today, but I really want to show her the frog game that I found. It's not like super um like horror, it's just really creepy. And the frog that you have to help, his name's Diego. And I guess he turned himself into a frog on accident and he needs your help. And it says it's an unsuspecting game. There's nothing wrong. Everything's fine. You just have to sacrifice your friends, and then it I forgot what else it said, but it looked really cute. Yeah, it looked really cute. We watched the trailer on YouTube, and I couldn't get the sound to work, but from what it was worth, it looked really good, and I want to play it. And apparently, there's a kiwi eating a pizza. I don't know how that ties in, but it's still cute. I really want to play it, and I was like this close to like wanting to download it and play it right then and there, but I was like, no, it's we said Stardew today, so we're gonna play Stardew. Yeah, there's a whole list now besides the ones on Steam that I have. There's some that are on my wish list, but I consider them on my backlog anyway. I think it's the Backrooms multiplayer that's like $5, and then the oh, excuse me. There's something else. There's something else on there. I have the SCP ones. There's like a couple of free horror games on Steam. These I can I can't talk. Download directly to my PC, so that's pretty good. I typically didn't want to like go through Steam and download all of these. Not that um, downloading from Steam is a bad thing, but trying to download from like the person who made it like directly is nice, and then being able to donate whatever I can on Ko-fi would be nice. Let's see. 600 gold for a pizza? That's so much. That's so much. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have a beer, and then I know I said I wasn't gonna give Shane anything, and that. Okay, whatever. I just need to give somebody something. Because I've dated you in the past, Shane, and I regret it. It was more so like, ah, yes, he is perfect. I had to use my mouse. I was like this. Like a claw. God, something's happening. Okay. George is such a stinky old man. It's like he's hungry. And okay, so what he said was that I find a lot of fresh food, hot food in these cans, and if I don't take it, it'll go bad. How wasteful is Pelican Town? Like, it's questionable. Yes, it's illegal. That's George's private property. No. Definitely not harming anybody. George is so stinky, I swear. Yeah, I was like, are you throwing out perfectly good food? There's like a very, like, at least, like, I think there's like 30 people, or maybe less than 30 people, or there's like 28, between 25 and 28 people who live in Pelican Town. And it's like, that's a lot of wasted food between that many people. Like, absolutely wild. I remember when I got caught dumpster diving. So scared. So scared. But the guy let me go. It was fine. He's like, just don't make a mess. I was like, okay, bye. Of course I didn't, but I was just like, and I think he'd been like watching me to see what was like in the dumpster. So I probably scared him more than he scared me. My dumpster diving days are over though. Um, just the sheer amount of like danger that I would put myself in just to survive, but also like it's um you never know what's gonna happen now. The world has completely like changed in the last I want to say 10, 15 to 10 to 15 years, which is, obviously, things should change, but maybe not for the better. If that makes sense. Finally, a happy day for the spirits. I only have 248 gold. What makes you think I'm gonna go to your store? Okay, let's see. Let's look at our journal. So we still need to do this. Getting started making gold is so hard for me. Yeah, it's like there's stuff that I need to keep. Like the fruit. I know it's salmonberry season. I didn't mean to eat it. Oops. No. Oh. Okay, we'll just do that. Oh, excuse me. I still need to upgrade my pickaxe and everything so I can get these pieces of, yeah. The wood and the rocks out of the way. I still need to build a fire. Okay, let's get these out of the way. Oops. That fell in the water. If I had the nerve, I would definitely do the money cheat, but your girl's, trying her best. I would do it in a heartbeat, but I'm not trying to do that. My absolute trash? Yeah, it's such a relaxing and, comfy game, and that's the theme today. Yes, there is a money cheat. I have exploited that cheat many a time, in my past saves. Like, I have almost 1,000,000 gold for, like, no reason at all. Just to have it. Today's just to, kick back, chill out. If you need, to put me in the background, it's totally fine. Everybody's having a sleepy, soothing Sunday. It's been raining and I've just been, like, relaxed. But how are you today, absolute trash? In earlier trash, we were looking at, like, cute and creepy horror games to put on my backlog, and I only found, like, one or two that kind of remind me of Stardew, but at the same time, it's like, I think there are mods for Stardew to make it, like, more creepy, but I don't have the brain power to, do mods. Oh, let's see. What do we have here? Oops. To dissect dandelion. Please deliver to Demetrius. Yes. Watch, and we don't find a fucking dandelion anywhere. Oh, I just jinxed myself, didn't I? Yep. Maybe there is one over in my inventory. Maybe. Okay, yeah. Let's go back. Oh, my body. Oh, that was my hip. I don't know if you guys heard that. I hope you didn't. That shit hurted. There's a dandelion. Yoink. Be easier just to go this way to get to his house. I think. Yeah. I think that's. We'll figure it out. There's a creepy game like Stardew. I forget the name. I'll have to look it up. But making this creepy would be so cute. Yes. At least like to have like a different. I don't know. But yes. Exactly. Oops. Some weather. What do you mean? It's beautiful. Think. Yes. Give me my money. I've modded this, but only like more cottagecore vibes. I mean, still, that's just as cute. Move. It's just as cute. I just want something other than plain old Stardew. Something that I can, like, you know, that is, more of, like, what I actually play since I am a horror variety streamer. I know I, ugh, I stream different horror games, but still, it'd be nice to, like, make this a little scarier. But I bet you the cottagecore thing is still really cute. Mod. I don't know why I couldn't figure out the word for that. I'm so sorry. There's gotta be something good in the fucking trash cans. Jojo Cola! Oh shit, it's a gold ass bar. There's a couple more trash cans up this way. Okay, as long as he's out of sight. Okay. I've, in old saves, I've had people catch me, digging through the trash, and it's like, ooh, not good. I got an email notification. I was like, huh? It was junk mail. Oh wait, is the cart lady out here again? I keep forgetting what her name is. Nope, she's not here. But what do you have planned today, Trash? Okay, so the G. I barely put any makeup on today and like itchy. I honestly don't want to go into the mines, but I need copper so bad. We'll just do it. Just really quick. Take some salmon berries with us for nourishment. I'm gonna take some of your berries. I hate going into the mines because I am just... Oh, hey. It's Abigail. What's up, soon-to-be girlfriend? Okay, you're jamming. I'll leave you alone. Yeah, I just hate going into mines because I don't trust myself. You can give me a sword. Yep. Okay. Bye, weirdo. Oh, snap. That was cool. Just need copper. I can get these damn rocks and I was gonna say coconuts. These logs out of my fucking farm. That way I can build a stinking coop so I can have chickens. I just can't remember which ones that might have copper in them. Because I know there's specific ones that have copper. Like, you can tell, like, yeah, that's gonna be copper. Let's break these open. God damn it. Okay, let's put them. Absolutely nothing. Wow. That's not what I wanted. Seeds, I guess. God, I was... Oh, okay, there's copper. I honestly don't know how many I need. I'm just wasting all of my fucking energy. Just hitting absolutely nothing. This is something. Good lord. Hmm. Maybe the second floor, third floor will have... I think it's every 5 levels I get an elevator. God damn it! Do what I want you to do. Oh my god. Okay, let's eat a berry because... Yes, eat a salmon berry. I'll be damned if I fucking pass out. There's a... Explore the mine. Okay, reach level 5. I would be... not surprised if I found a ladder right now. Copper. Earth crystal. Pick it up. Inventory full. Your mom. Okay. Then we'll get rid of this. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, die. I don't need slime. Oh, well, where's the ladder? Is there another one up here? Yep. Let's kill you too. I don't really care. I need to get out of here. I need to find at least... Sweet. Will I find level 5? Yo. Need to hurry though. I think it's gonna be down here. Yeah, I know it's getting late. Ah, shit. I just need to find... I think I have to, like, 1 8. Fuck. I might lose money. It's okay. One, give me... Good lord. Okay. Let's try and kick these things' butts. Oops. These controls are not my friends. Come on. Oh, Jesus! I'm probably gonna die from just... Oh, there we go. Oh, good God. Okay. Level 0, please. Okay. I think I'm gonna pass out in-game. I think so. No, my money. Ugh. Yeah, I know. Could be worse. Hi, Arma. How are you? Yes, waffles or pancakes with abs. And those abs hold perfectly good maple syrup. How are you today, dude? 36 gold! Each ab holds the goods, honestly. But sweet, sweet maple syrup nectar. Yeah, we're just chilling like villains. I think I just fucked up that... No, we're X. No. I'm using controller today because I'm tired of my camera jiggling about. Yeah, we backlogged some horror games. And then we're gonna do a vote in the Discord. Yeah, I am getting very sleepy, so I might end stream soon. Hence the word might. We'll see how I feel. Okay. That's right. Let's sell some Cully Pelt. Move, kitty. Be sleeping myself soon, just making some last minute pass. Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. Sleep is important. It feels like it's been just one sleepy day. But I hope you get some good rest when you do eventually go to sleep, and hopefully work treats you better tomorrow than it does me. I don't think I've explored the beach yet. A book.
Money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle
Thank
wiggle.
you for
Sure, it makes
the
me wanna
biddies,
dribble
babe.
dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat, you really have to see it. 6 feet
How
big
is
in a compact, no slack.
Call of Duty? I heard you started it up again. I'm so sleepy. I'm like, I sleep when I'm a kid now. Hold on. Welcome in, Raiders. 1 second. My name is Cassie Betts. I am an alt plus size content creator and a horror variety streamer. Sorry, my earphone just yelled at me that it had a low battery. Thank you so much for entrusting me with your community demote. I hope stream went well. I'm very sleepy today. Is like a sleepy, calm, kick back, let's vibe together kind of stream. So I'm just super chill, super quiet. For those of you that came in, um, please take a potty break, a screen break, a snack break, or a water break. And if you have to go, if you gotta, you know, raid and dash, that is totally fine. We will be here when you come back. But thank you so much, Timo. What were you doing today? Stream Elements really does not like me. It really doesn't like me. Playing some Dark Souls, it went well, meant to beat the game, but got sidetracked with the DLC. I feel that. I have been meaning to replay Dark Souls. It's too much. I was gifted Elden Ring, and I played maybe up to the first boss, and then I stopped. So any Soulsborne or Souls-like game, it's too much for me. That's actually, I think, the first game that I started streaming. I'll look in the back end code on why that did not work. Remind me tomorrow when you can, for sure. Such a large game. I also didn't finish it. Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is cool, but also like, I'm tired of playing this. But thank you so much for that raid demote. I think I did see something about a Souls game on Twitter today, but I just like the pictures. Anytime someone posts a picture of themselves, I'm like, ah, yes, I'm going to like it, before ever reading what the context is, and then coming back to it afterwards, especially if I'm like working or if I'm streaming or something. Yeah. Yeah. But thank you so much, and thank you for entrusting me with your community. They are safe here, and we're just vibing and thriving, and I'm sleepy, and we're just enjoying each other's company right now. I've been switching between like 3 different lo-fi playlists. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I think I've heard the same song like twice, two or three times now, which isn't bad. It's just like I think I heard that earlier. So, like I said, if you have to, raid and go, it's totally fine. Take care of yourself, and do your after stream business. And do what you gotta do. Please stop yelling at me, earphone. I guess we only use one now. Okay, get in there. With the right hole? That's what she said. I mean, I like my little hammerhead wireless earbuds, but sometimes they cause more problems than I want them to. They're more hard, like they're more work than what they're worth. Oh, sweet potato fries. Oh, that sounds so good. I need to start growing more sweet potatoes. I tried last year and they did not. Oh, I am excited for you. Initiation. Okay, I do not care about that fucking. Well, I can't remember. Marlin? No, I don't know. Marvin something. Whoever the guild leader for the Adventurers Club is, I don't care for him all that much. He's rude, or at least mean to me, in my opinion. There's salmon berries. Yeah, I'm just running around trying to gather up money to get a coop so I can have chickens and fulfill my childhood memories of having chickens. Parents have been eating more fresh veggies, so I'm hoping my garden turns out this year. I have a new plot for my flowers, so I don't have to choose between flowers or veggies. Ooh, I love that for you. Yeah, I yesterday, if you're not in the Discord, if you guys want to hang out in the Discord, more fun stuff happens in Discord sometimes, so I'll just do. But I posted pictures of my progress on my garden yesterday. I'm so sore, but yes, that should be here. I'll go ahead and pin this so y'all can. There you go. But I posted my progress pictures of my garden yesterday, and I am a very sore person. It's just my legs and the squatting. I got my leg day in. My legs hurt a lot. But but yeah, I have a back garden behind my shed on the right side of the house, and the left side of the house I have a awning where that's my office window right here, and then behind, like underneath that is like a awning, and then and then like maybe 5 feet away from it is my garden. So I want to build like a little seating area for myself and all that stuff, a mini greenhouse. But the greenhouse I have is a you have a low battery too? Gosh. Um is a clear tote. It works, but I would just like a greenhouse in case, uh I need to overwinter my tomatoes or my waxed banana peppers because they did not survive the frost. Somehow my bell peppers did, but the wax peppers and my my beefsteak tomatoes, they didn't last, which makes me very sad. But that's okay. I'm gonna try and grow regular tomatoes so I can make like my homemade spaghetti sauce again, and possibly can like jar some tomatoes for the winter. I also have garlic growing. They're doing pretty good. I have some other veggies, and then I also have onions growing in some grow bags. And what else? But yeah, and I think russet potatoes and some red potatoes. I want to do sweet potatoes. They're supposed to be good for you. I'd love a greenhouse, but spring and summer are super short here, so I think a greenhouse would be too big of a challenge to winterize properly. Uh, that makes a whole lot of sense. It's just like we have enough cold here to where it's like, ah, yes, I'm going to kill all of your plants, but we don't get any snow here, so it's like yeah, you know what I mean. I'm not trying to like um give myself away too much. There you go. Damn it. I'm having such a hard time with this fucking controller. And it's not my fault. I just don't want my monitor to like move because anytime I type on here like on a keyboard, not on my laptop, it it wiggles my monitor right here back and forth. Oh, sweet. Okay. Level 2 farming. Let's go. And I got gold somehow. Oh yeah, I put stuff for sale. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the TV. Weather report. Ugh, of course, I like have like such a hard time with the fucking fortune teller. I never have good luck. It's very rare. Pet the kitty. Feed it some water. Nope. Okay. Yes, I know you have a low battery earphone. Let's go see if my rocks reappeared. Let's fill this up while we're at it. I need my chicken coop. 22 rocks. Let's see if we get anything out of them. Okay, not bad. We got some... stuff in here. Ooh, a chicken statue. Okay, there are the stairs. I was like, where did my stairs go? Let's see, what do we got here? Put that away. That away, put that away. I think we have enough for another copper. Like two, actually two. Sweet. Sorry if I got quiet. I was eating a pot sticker and then I was like trying to stretch. So after this, I think we're gonna end stream. Because my headset keeps telling me low battery. read that one for whatever reason. Maybe it's right. No. Yeah, I think I have company over, so give me a sec. Okay. Oh, I am so sleepy. But yes, tomorrow is gonna be um hopefully gonna happen. So like I said, I got called into work. I'm gonna be there super early, but I don't know how long. I'm gonna be there for. Um, with that being said, I am going to end here. I think we ended on a good note. I'm just very tired. And I need to take off my makeup because I think I'm gonna take a nap. Um, but yes, thank you, Demote, for the raid, Glamour Fairy for the follow. There was another person. I think, babe, thank you for the biddies. Who else? There's a couple other people that came in today. If I missed you, I'm so sorry. My brain is just all over the place. We're gonna find someone to read out to. I just need to see. It's on right now. You know what? We're gonna leave you guys with Hey Krista. She's very sweet. I do believe she's playing the Breath of the Wild. Yeah, she's playing Breath of the Wild. She's on a BRB though. We'll do it anyway. She's doing a 12-hour stream. I think she's doing some shrine hunting and some Master Sword trials. But yes, she's doing a 12-hour stream, so we'll celebrate that with her. You guys can copy this and read message. This is for everybody. So I'm gonna see the shaking of the camera. It's right when I fucking like type at all, and I hate it. We'll figure it out next stream. But yes, socials to keep updated, and then like I said, tomorrow I'm probably gonna stream between 5 and 6 p.m. and we're gonna be doing chapter 4 and 5 of The Walking Dead. And hopefully we can finally finish that game because I think I started that game and then got COVID, then got sick and couldn't stream for like almost 2 weeks. So yeah, we're behind on our backlog and we need to hurry up and finish it. Oh boy. Okay, let's do this. I need to go here and do this. Give me a second. But yes, if you can stay for the raid, I would totally appreciate it. But if you cannot, that is totally fine too. But yeah, hopefully I can see you guys tomorrow. If tomorrow doesn't happen, it'll more than likely happen on Tuesday. With that being said, I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for being here. You are very important to me, and you are very worthy of the rest that you took today. And even if you couldn't, that is totally fine. Um, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and raid. If you stay for the raid, I would totally love that. Like I said, if you can't, that is totally fine. I Let's see. I need to figure out how to spell her name. Hold on. I don't have my glasses on, so if I'm squinting, it's because I can't see. And I don't know what I did with my glasses. And they're probably around me somewhere. Okay. Like I said, if you can copy that raid message. But yes, I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. And if not, we'll figure something out. And like I said, if you want to keep posted about when I will be going live tomorrow, you guys can follow my Twitch, obviously, or my Twitter, or mainly I post mostly on Discord and Twitter. But if you feel inclined to do so, you can follow my other socials as well. With that being said, let's go ahead and start that raid. All right, I love you guys